Hi and welcome. Thank you so much for taking the time to meet with us today to learn about our Clearly Cloud call panel and all the new features and updates. My name is Bree Fernie. I'm part of the team here at Clearly IP. I'm in the marketing department and I will be your presenter today. I have Tony Lewis with us, our CEO. He'll be joining me a little later on. I always enjoy collaborating with Tony for these webinar events as he is able to conduct a live demonstration and really show you all the technology in the call panel today with the live walkthrough. So he will also lead the Q&A to answer any questions you might have on technical bits. Right now we have everyone muted, but feel free to post any questions at any time in the webinar control panel. We are also recording this webinar for your review later. You can always find our webinar recordings on our events page or on our YouTube and other social media channels. And I anticipate today's webinar will take somewhere around 45 minutes with the Q&A at the end. So our agenda today is to give you a real great introduction to the call panel and really go into the new features that we've announced that were developed from August through September. And Tony will jump in and provide that live demonstration. So I will start with a brief overview of Clearly Cloud and the call panel for those of you new here that are not super familiar with our unified communication as a service platform. So Clearly Cloud will truly fit into any size business as a cloud based voice platform that really offers all inclusive features and functionality at a low monthly cost per seat. So we can offer customers a platform designed as an all inclusive solution at a very competitive price that can very simply and easily be supported. So Clearly Cloud is a feature rich telephony unified communication as a service, UCaaS platform. It's intuitive to use and has been built with many powerful features. Everything that a business is looking for. So, we offer features often only found on more costly enterprise platforms. As you can see here, this is an example of some of the over 100 functions available. We offer unlimited extensions, so the system can really grow with any size business. It's scalable, it offers voicemail, auto attendant, IVR, call center features, video and teleconference calling, call record, so much more. It's really everything you need. You can elevate the quality and reliability of your business phone system with the Clearly Cloud platform. Setup is quick and easy. There's no hardware required. And some of these features are really equal to those offered in that enterprise class solution, but costing significantly less and therefore in reach for many small businesses. So I've just outlined a few of the features and Tony will go into them in more details. When we designed Clearly Cloud, it was really engineered with six main goals. One, that it was simple to set up and easy for users to learn, that it was super intuitive. Two, that it was priced competitively so it's affordable with flexible terms. We've designed the platform with business continuity for stability and security. That's an important aspect here. And Clearly Cloud includes a call panel that offers users an intuitive interface so they can use and manage the phone system, which is what we're highlighting today. We offer professional services for customers and partners if you're looking for more personalized support. And lastly, it's super scalable. It's flexible to grow anywhere from 1 to 10,000 seats. So it really can meet any size business needs. And one of the biggest differences is that you no longer need to house the phone system hardware or PBX at your location, meaning way less headaches for you if you don't have the resources for someone to oversee equipment on site. This can be a really helpful solution, and no outages due to your server or PBX or system hardware failing on site either. So, one of the most powerful feature highlights of our Clearly Cloud platform is our call panel. So, this is our subject matter today. The call panel is highly responsive, and it gives users insight and access to so many things on the phone system, including active calls on your platform, seeing what callers are in a conference call, conducting a video conference. You can see who's waiting in a queue if you're running a call center environment, how long those people have been waiting. So, Call Panel really offers advanced features and functionality that users need and want to conduct day to day business. And system administrators are able to use it to control so many tools and various permissions for users and what access permissions for users so you can determine visibility and management. It's got a really nice clean navigation bar across the top of the screen, which is really engaging for users. That'll show them where they have access to all the different features via the tabs in an all in one application. So, we announced a few weeks ago the new features and updates in the Clearly Cloud Call Panel. I'm going to talk those through right now, and then Tony's going to jump in, give you a proper introduction to Call Panel for those that are new with us, and then also talk a little bit more and expand on these new features. So, we recently announced that some of the new features engineering was working on is truly to continue updating, expanding, and really improving our user experience with the call panel in Clearly Cloud. One of our first updates lately was the new status feature. It allows users to choose their status in the call panel. So it's really important for team collaboration, to let your colleagues know if you're available, if you're free to communicate. So you can set a status message in the call panel to let others know what you're up to, whether you're out of the office or if you simply want to share a message for your colleagues to see. Status messages are a really great way to indirectly share your availability. So you can let people know when you're online, if you're busy, if you're offline, or even away from your desk. You can set this status in the call panel, and an icon will advise your colleagues of your availability. The next update we talked about was our new notifications feature. So, using Clearly Cloud notifications for critical events within your organization will really enhance collaboration again by proactively letting users know that there's something happening that needs their attention or something that maybe needs to be done, an actionable step. So, Clearly Cloud's notifications offer administrators and users various ways to access, receive, and manage system notifications. So these settings include how, when, and where your notifications appear, advanced custom settings for channels and chat appearance, turning off specific messages, and so on. Notifications can be used for emergency alerts, which is a great tool, and even other important messaging. They're a great method to communicate important alerts or instructions to your team and colleagues. The notifications can be sent to email, SMS, Clearly Cloud Chat, and even SIP message, which we support on our Clearly IP SIP IP desk phones. Another really cool new feature is our BLF button for monitoring other voicemail boxes. A new feature code of star 98 XXX has been created for every voicemail box on the system. So you're going to replace the XXX here with the voicemail box extension number. So you can now set up a BLF on any phone to monitor when that voicemail box has one or more new messages. If one or more new voicemail messages exist, the button will be red. Pressing the BLF will allow you to log in with the password to listen to and delete the messages. You can send push notifications of new voicemails for Clearly Anywhere Mobile. Whenever a new voicemail is left on the system and you are using Clearly Anywhere Mobile, we will push a notification to your device that a new voicemail has been left, so you receive a pop up notification on your mobile phone. So, I wanted to mention this feature in Clearly Cloud as well, as a lot of customers requested it and are really loving how it works for them. Another new added feature to Clearly Cloud within Call Panel is it allows users to manage those announcements. So in the past, if you wanted to update an announcement like your IVRs, your PBX administrator would need to do the updates from the admin GUI of your PBX. So now you can have granted permission to update and manage any announcements from our new announcements tab in Call Panel. This feature is convenient in organizations where a system user maybe is in charge of updating the IVR announcements, like a receptionist or general manager. You can update both recorded announcements or announcements created with text to speech. Another feature update is our chat enhancements. Users can now sort the chat order for SMS message threads by recent activity or by alphabetical order. Previously, your SMS message threads were supported by alphabetical order only. So now you can choose the sort order so that threads with the latest responses are now at the top, similar to how your mobile phone works for SMS. So when a new message comes in, you'll now get a pop up in the call panel if you're not on the message tab, notifying you of this new message, and you can choose to close the notification or click on it to be brought right to the message conversation. We have new user avatars, profile images. It allows users to set an avatar right in the call panel, as this was previously only available in the management interface. We also have added to Clearly Cloud the export Q report data. So Q data can now be exported to a CSV file. So if you're looking for that, it's great for reviewing Q agent reports. We've also added the ability to view contacts from the call panel softphone dialog. So when you're using the softphone client in call panel, you can start typing any contact name in the dial screen. Optionally, you can also still click on the contact icon and get a list of all the contacts you have access to. Another feature is you can manage settings for other users in the call panel as well. So we've added the ability to manage other users' DND, do not disturb, their call forwarding, call waiting, and follow me settings based on permissions, of course. By default, when you change settings for follow me, call forward, DND, and call waiting, you can change them for your logged in user. You can also change these four settings for any other user you've been granted permission to by the PBX administrator. And another feature is the ability to view and manage other users' voicemail boxes in the call panel. By default, users have permission to manage their voicemail mailboxes, including changing their settings, their greetings, and listening to their voicemail messages, of course. You can also grant a user now permission to manage other users' voicemail messages from call panel. This flexibility is great for organizations with a general mailbox, as the users can now use their primary login for call panel to manage and view voicemails for themselves and other users. Great for assistance or covering for someone when they're on vacation. Okay, so now's Tony's time to step in here and he's going to demonstrate the call panel, give you a proper introduction, and go through some of these new features. Hi, Tony. How are you today?
Pretty good, Bree.
Great.
Give me 1 second here. I'll get my screen share. Oh, okay. You should be able to see my screen,
Dan?
hopefully. Awesome. So I've got open up here call panel, and gonna kind of just walk through the different features of call panel. Now, logging the call panel is done by the end user. So when you set up your Clearly Cloud system, and you create user accounts, so I can bring that screen over here. When you create your different users here, you created a username and a password for them. And if you don't know what the password is, you can set a new one here. And that is the username password that each user or extension logs into call panel with. And you can also, from the user screen, when you're creating users or if you're editing users, give me a second here, I'll bring it up. You can also hit this, so you could change, for example, the password if you needed to. And if you hit this apply an email user button, that'll apply the change and email the user a welcome email and get them set up with resetting their password and logging into call panel. So it's a nice little welcome email. You hit just apply, it's just going to save your change and not email the user. So it's a great way when you're bringing on new employees to have it auto send an invite. And then they're just going to go to the same URL, w.clearlyp.cloud or whatever URL your base system is on. And they're just going to log in. Instead of them seeing the backend phone system, they're going to get put into Call Panel. So the first tab in Call Panel is our Users tab. And we'll start off with everything in Call Panel is permissionable. So you can control pretty granularly what permissions they have access to. And I'll give some examples as I'm going through things on, oh, you can set a permission here. You can turn this on or off through permissions per user or per groups of users using the permission and permission groups inside of Clearly Cloud. So here I get a list of all the users that I have put into my main dashboard. So we can see, for example, Brian, if we hover over, we can see his status is online. His extension 5002, his user is Brian Walters. We can see Luke. Luke's never set a status, so it's unknown at this time. So the status indicator that we allow users to set is the little bubble on the right side of their avatar. So this little question mark is the current status. The green bubble to the left is telling you that they at least have one or more phones connected. So if you try to call them, they should receive your call because they're either logged in through Call Panel, which has a soft phone, or they have a mobile soft phone connected, or they have a desk phone connected. So it just means they have one or more phones connected to the system. You'll notice Preston and Bree are both red. That's because they have Do Not Disturb on currently. So they're not green, they're red. And we'll notice Matt down here is red, but we can see he's on an active call. So he's red because he's on an active call. So you can see some basic quick information about your users. The reason I can tell Bree and Preston are on Do Not Disturb with this red here is right here it tells you Do Not Disturb is on. Do Not Disturb is on, but if we look at Todd, Do Not Disturb is off. The other thing I can see about users quickly is do they have call forwarding or follow me enabled? So if we come down and look at Stas, we'll see follow me is enabled and it's orange, the little follow me icon. The middle one's call forward and it's grayed out, it's disabled. And the first one, of course, is Do Not Disturb and that's grayed out because it's off. So at a quick snapshot, I can see information about my users. I can also see based on permissions again, Todd has 2 unread voicemails. So I need to go yell at him on why you're not checking your voicemails. I can simply call Todd just by clicking the button here. And it will call Todd and he could answer and we could have a call here. So I'm going to hang this up. I have permissions to be able to barge in, for example. So I gave myself permissions just now and we can see Matt's on an active call. So I could actually barge in by clicking this button and listen in on that call, unmute myself and take part of that call. And again, I'm sorry, with the headset button here. And again, that's a permissionable thing. So that can be removed. So if I go in to the backend permissions, give me 1 second here. And I will take away call spy permissions. I'll actually show you guys what I'm doing. So I'm in the permission group module. I have my own permission group called Tony Test. And you'll see there's a permission called active call execute call spy. I'm going to remove that from a permission, put it back as available permissions and save that. Now all the users of that group have that new permission. And if I refresh, you'll see I don't have the barge button anymore. The little headset icon's gone because that permission's been removed. So everything's permissionable. Same thing like the voicemail counter. You can remove the permission to not show how many unread voicemails the user has. You can remove permissions where I can't see if they have Do Not Disturb, Call Forward, or Follow Me on. So if I don't want to see if they have Follow Me on, I could literally come into the permission groups again and go to whichever group you want to modify. And under Panel Buddies, we have show caller ID info, show call forward, show call state, show Do Not Disturb, show Follow Me, and show voicemail count. So I could say remove the call forward one and save that. And now it'll refresh the panel in a second, but to speed it up, I'll just hit the refresh button. And now the icon for call forward's gone. I still have do not disturb and follow me. So again, very permissionable. Almost everything you can do here, you can do, you can control through permissions. So I'm going to go ahead and fix my permission before I forget. Okay, and now because I have permissions to see caller ID info of active calls, I can see Matt's been on a call for 26 minutes. I could take away permissions where I can see they're on an active call and how long, but not see the caller ID who they're talking to. So that's a permission you can remove if you want. So that's kind of the snapshot users. Now, the other neat thing with users is there's two modes currently. There's this big mode and there's compact mode. So if I go to compact mode, it shrinks up the size of the boxes. So I don't see Matt's on an active call. I can tell because he's red, but I don't see who he's talking to in compact mode. The other thing we can do is we can control the order of what we see. So if I want, we'll just pick somebody random. Julian, up here, I can move Julian around. So you get to control each user what order they see, and they can control who's in their main dashboard here. So if I don't need to ever see, like myself, I would never need to see, I can remove it just by clicking this little button here, remove card from dashboard. Now, I can bring that user back anytime by going to the user directory here button on the left, this little blue icon, and here's a list of all my users. And I can pick which users I want in and out. So I can remove Brian from my dashboard by clicking here, or if I click it here, it removes Brian, or I can bring Brian back. And I can search by any extension number. So if I want to do 500, it'll bring back anything that matches that, or by any name. Bring Brian back up a little bit. So that's our users tab. We're going to skip chat for a minute and come back. Queuing. So in our queuing tab, we can see all the different queues we have permissions for. And again, you can be granted permissions to specific queues. And then you as the end user get to pick which queues you want to see in your main dashboard. So if I don't care about cloud support, I can hide that one, or I can bring it back. And then we can see some basic stats. So in sales, there's 4 agents, 2 are currently paused. They've completed 24 calls in the last 24 hours, and they've had 3 abandoned calls. Average hold time of 9 seconds. So we can see some general stats about the queue, and then we can drill into the queue to see more information about callers and agents. So I have a test queue here. If I drill into it, I can see which agents are in the queue, and they're both available. And I have permissions to actually pause and unpause other agents. So I can pause that agent. And I can even set a pause code like lunch break. It's not updating. I've never seen that before. I just created this queue before our call, so that's, there it is. It should have updated automatically. I'll have to figure out why it didn't. So I can see the pause and unpause state of callers. And then if I have callers waiting in the queue, it'll show me their caller ID information and how long they've been waiting and what position they're in. And I can even pull that caller out of the queue early. So if they're in position 3 and I want to take the call because they're important to me, I can grab that call and I can take it, or I can transfer it to any other user on the system and steal it out of the queue early. So some neat functionality with queuing. Conferencing. So I can see conference rooms, the audio conference rooms I have access to. So I have access to these 3 rooms. And I have my own personal conference room that every user by default gets, which is *99 and your extension number. And for any conference room, I can join the conference room just by dialing, for example, 7000 from any phone, or I can click the join button here and it'll join it through call panel. And now I'm in that 7000 conference room, and I can even bring up, now you'll notice this button here is the members, and it's dark gray versus these are grayed out because there's no members in there. If I click on here, it'll show me the caller ID information who's in the conference room, and if there's multiples, it'll all be listed here. And for each person, I can mute, unmute, or kick them out of the conference room. And now there's Preston. And we can kick Preston out of the room. For my own personal conference room, I can have permissions to control my settings. And the last thing I can do is I can invite people. So I can type in any phone number, any other user by their name, such as Tony, or start typing in an extension number or any phone number. Or if I have contacts loaded, I can type in any contact. I don't know if I have any. Apparently not. So from here, I can, like I said, type in a contact and it will show me all the numbers and I can pick what number I want. And when I type in a phone number here and hit invite, it's going to call them. When they answer, it's going to drop them in the conference room. If the conference room has a PIN number on it, it's not going to prompt them for the PIN since you invited them. Video conferencing. So based on your system and what you have set up, you can see all your video conference rooms that have been shared with you. And for any video conference room, we can launch it two different ways. We can launch it in a new tab. So if we click this button, it'll launch it in a new tab. It has nothing to do with the call panel. It's outside of call panel. And we're in a perfect conference room now. And others can join and you can send out a URL for them to join. You can invite them. You can share your screen. Things you'd expect in your conferencing, video conferencing. You can invite people. You can invite them by a phone number. You can share this meeting link with them. You can send it through email. So your default email or Gmail or Outlook or Yahoo. They could have a call-in phone number. Or you can launch the video room in what they call embedded mode. So if we click here, it'll launch it inside here. And now it's embedded in call panel. And as I navigate around call panel, my embedding of the video conference is staying here. And I can see all the people in it. I can detach it. And that way I can make it wherever I want on the screen and resize it, but it's still floating on top of everything. Or I can launch in a new browser tab, so it'll take it out of call panel and open it up in a new browser tab so it's not bothering call panel and sitting on the top. So again, full control over that. And that's for any of the video conference rooms that you have access to. Parking will show me all the park calls on the system. So if I make a call, I'm in do not disturb, that's right. Let's see here. Can't do this from my do not disturb. Anyways, all my park calls will show up in here with caller ID information. And then I can choose to park or unpark the call. Actually, I can probably do it right from call panel. So we call a phone number. There we go. And we can park the call. And it'll show here who parked it, the caller ID who's parked, what time was parked at, and the duration. And now I could walk up to any phone and dial 701 to pick it up, or right from call panel, I can pick it up just by clicking this button. I can also park a call from call panel by dragging it to any slot. If I want it in 707, I just drag it and release it, confirm it, and we park the call. And now I could
We lost you, Tony.
voicemails. So this will show me all my voicemails on the system. I can listen to any voicemail right from the embedded player. I can delete the voicemail. I can mark it as unread, so it'd be new again, which would trigger the message waiting indicator on your desk phones. So if I click this, we'll notice you get an MWI up here, and then your MWI on your desk phone would light up with a new voicemail. Or I can mark it back as read, and I can transfer this voicemail to any other user on the system. When I'm listening to the voicemail, I can also download it right from here. I've been granted permissions. So one of the new features we have is you can get permissions to view other people's voicemail boxes. So when you get granted permission for more than one voicemail box, you get this select box up here. When you only have permission to yourself, you don't see this. And then I can pick any user that I've been granted permission to view voicemails for. So I can pick accounting, and I can see the voicemails related to accounting or sales or support. Go back to my main user. Under the gear cog here on the left, this is all the settings for my voicemail. So my email address, my voicemail pin. I'm attaching the voicemails when they email them. I'm attaching a copy of the voicemail when it emails it to me, and then I'm deleting it from the system, but I'm also transcribing the voicemail when it emails it to me. So when I get that email, it's going to be transcribed to text what the message was. So I can control all my settings here, and I can manage all my greetings here. So if I need to re-record, for example, my name or my busy or my unavailable, I can listen to it first if I want. I can reset it, which will set it back to nothing. I can upload a file if I have one, or I can hit record and record right from my browser. Tony Lewis. Now we're done. So we can do that for the names and all the different greetings. And again, if I permission to other voicemail boxes, I can be granted permissions to change their greetings too. So I can be granted permissions to only view voicemails of another user or manage all their greetings and settings. A couple other things. So under our avatar up here, if we click on it, we can click on the little avatar guy and change our image and crop it and do some formatting on it if you upload a new one. I can also change my status. So under here, where it says online, it's green. If I hover over that, it shows me my 4 available statuses. So if I say I'm away, or I could say I'm away and I could set a custom message at lunch. And now when somebody hovers over my status, so I think I removed myself. So to show you what it would look like if somebody hovered over me, is they'll see away at lunch. And they'll see the little orange Z's now because I'm away versus the green that you see for Preston, that he's online and in a meeting at the same time. So that's where you control your own status right here and set your own custom message. We can change the theme. So if you like dark mode, you can go into dark mode. You can change your language between French and English. And then we can see quickly our call history. So if we click here, this will show all the call history. And from a call history, if you have call recordings enabled and you have permissions, you can download and listen to the call recordings, or you can call the person back. Contacts will show me all my contacts on the system and that I have permissions to that have been shared with me by the admin. So these are server shared contacts. And then personal contacts are any personal contacts I can create that only I see. And then when you're using like the built-in dialer up here, you can dial by a phone number or start typing in a contact. One of the new things we just added to this dialer, this built-in soft phone, is the contacts button here too. If you click here, it'll bring you up a list of all your contacts, and as you start typing, it'll also filter it out. What else can I do in contacts? Oh, if I've been granted permissions on shared contacts, I can even edit them. I can come in here and edit any contact I want that's been shared by the PBX admin, as long as I've been granted permissions for editability. And then I guess last thing is really the built-in soft phones. We're gonna go back to the users tab. And in the built-in soft phone, of course, you can start typing in any contact or phone number or user. And we can call, and we'll see the active call up here. So once this number answers, we could, so there we go. So there's an active call. We can put it on hold. We can mute it. We can change the volume of the speaker of this call. We can park it. We can do a three-way conference call, or we can do transfer, and we can pick blind or attended. Now, the other neat thing is, if we're on an active call, we hit the phone icon again and dial another number. It'll put the first caller on hold. And now I'm on this active call. Now this one's going to hang up in a second. There we go. Because it's going to an IVR that doesn't let it stay open very long. From here, I can manage up to 4 calls at a time. So just like you can from your desk phone, you can put calls on hold, and you can just stack those 4 calls and go back to any call you need and switch between them. And then we can hang up our active call right by the hang up button. Now, the last thing is some of the chat stuff. So chat's a beta feature. Chat encompasses numerous things. So the first thing we'll see in chat is public channels. So these are rooms that anyone's allowed to join and take part of conversation. So I have one called random. It's got 8 users in it. I can click here and see who the members are. So public rooms, anyone's allowed to join. And you can do things like if I want James to be notified that I sent him something, I can do at James, hey, and then he'll get a notification that I notified him inside this channel, versus if I just put hey, he wouldn't get a notification. Nobody would. It'll just show up as an unread message. Then you have private rooms. So these are rooms that you have to be invited to. And then they have owners associated to them. These private rooms do. We can see manage our members right from here, and who's a member and who's an owner. And then you have direct messages. So this is the one you've directly messaged with. So I can say, hey, Todd, no raise for you. Of course, you can upload images and GIFs and different things inside of here, like you see. So we can message back and forth with any user. So these are people I've had direct messages with, and we can see Todd is typing right now. So we'll wait in suspense to see what he says. There we go, and we got a little notification also about it. That is understandable. Thank you, Todd. And then you have all your SMS history here. So I can see all my messages that I've done SMS with. So as long as you've enabled SMS in your numbers with us, and depending if you're US or Canada, you may have to set up SMS campaigns, a campaign to actually send messaging out because of the laws that have changed. But we can do messaging back and forth. So I can send out a text. And if I even leave this screen, for example, which we will, I'll go reply to that text from my mobile. And we'll actually get a pop-up notification on that reply. There we go. Yo, from that phone number. I can close the notification or just hit open chat, and it'll take me right into that chat so I can respond. That is the high-level overview of Call Panel, Bree.
Fantastic. Thank you, Tony. Well, we've got lots of questions, so should we move into the Q&A?
Yeah, let me get over to those. I haven't even looked at them yet, so give me a second. Can you log in and out of queues from Call Panel? We don't have a concept to log in and out. If you put an agent in the queue, they are in it. They can pause and unpause. We purposely have taken away the login or had no concept of log in, log out because it adds more confusion when you have pause and unpause also. So in our world, once you create a queue and you add agents to it, that agent can pause and unpause themselves, but they're always logged in. Does call panel work on tablet and mobile? It's getting better. We're working on specific views for mobile. So it works in a lot of areas. There's some things that won't work as well. Mobile, you're very limited, right? So we really have to change, like users has to become more of a list view when you're looking at users. So there's different things we're currently actively working on to actually make mobile very friendly and have very specific mobile views for call panel. If I send an SMS on call panel, will it show on my mobile app? Yes, with Clearly Anywhere it will. So if I send an outbound SMS from call panel, if I go look in my Clearly Anywhere app, I see that outbound message I just sent, and vice versa. If I send from Clearly Anywhere mobile, it'll show up in call panel also. If I do a three-way conference, I'm the first to hang up. Will the rest of the parties be able to continue with the call? No. So the three-way calling is more like traditional desk phones. Yes, some desk phones will let you hang up and keep the call going. Even ours will have a setting. Our CIP desk phones will, but the built-in soft phone will not. If you're using the three-way call feature of the soft phone, when you hang up, the parties get hung up on. If you need them staying on a call, you should be using a conference room at this time for that. Can you limit who has access to call panel? Absolutely. And you can limit what they can do. Again, everything's permissionable, even things like taking away the soft phone. But absolutely, you can limit them not even having the ability to log into call panel. It's done at what we call a user profile inside of Clearly Cloud. Can I use my personal conference room? Or if I want to use my personal conference room, can someone call a main number that goes to an IVR and enter my conference bridge number to join the call? Yeah, as long as the IVR is set up for that, absolutely. So you can give out your star 99 5001, and there's an option in the IVR that says allow direct dialing into personal conference rooms. And if that's enabled in IVR, they can go straight into your personal conference room. Um, Call panel is awesome, but is it only for Clearly Cloud? I'm hoping I can use this with free PBX. Absolutely not, unfortunately. Call panel is designed for our Clearly Cloud platform, which has nothing in common with free PBX or any similarities to free PBX from a coding development tools or anything standpoint. So call panel is natively and tightly integrated into our UCaaS Clearly Cloud platform only. Click to call. So yes, coming very soon, coming in the the next major release we have coming out. Development is done on it. It's going through QA right now, which will allow you to call panel itself will register as what's called a telephone application into the OS. So whether that's a Mac or a Windows, um, through the browser, we tell it, hey, we want to be a tele device, and it will register call panel as a telephone application and anywhere in your computer. So if you're on web pages or any application that supports the telelink, which basically everything does, anything that is a phone number would be able to be click to dial that the OS recognizes as a phone number. Does call panel have exportable queue reports? No. So queue reporting is not part of call panel. It's a real-time thing. Call panel is. We do have the ability to export queue reports from the admin interface of the phone system, but it's not something handled through call panel. Does click to call on a computer work with call panel, or do you need something Clearly Anywhere? Again, so it's a new feature just coming out. It'll be out in the next few weeks inside of call panel, barring any disasters through QA. It'll be out in the next few weeks. So it's a new feature coming out. There is no Clearly Anywhere for Clearly Cloud. It relies 100% on call panel. There's no Clearly Anywhere desktop like there is for if you're coming from like a free PBX space. This is what you get as your desktop application. Possible to integrate to MS Teams. Call panel would never be able to. Call panel's a feature of our own UCaaS platform, which is a mini competitor Teams. As far as integration of Clearly Cloud into MS Teams, I would say contact sales to talk about that. It's something that we are heavily investigating and doing some playing with to decide if we're going to go actually do all the work on it. So it's something we're actively looking at and playing with. So I would say contact sales and talk about kind of understanding your use case you're looking for. Can you send and receive group SMS messages? No, not at this time. Group messaging for SMS is heavily regulated with the wireless carriers and very expensive. And it's something, again, we're always keeping our eye on, but with all the new laws that have happened with this 10-digit long code, 10 DLC, it's been a battle just to keep up with that. And group texting becomes a bigger nightmare with all that. They start limiting you depending on the carrier. Some carriers say you're only allowed 5 per people in a group text, and it just randomly picks which 5 it's going to put in it. Other carriers say 10. So you start running into a lot of problems on where do you set your limits to, because the wireless carriers are all behaving differently. Greg, I'm not going to repeat your comment to the world, but yes, I agree with you. uh, how much does call panel cost? And then there's another one right after that. Call panel's already included with Clearly Cloud, or do we need to pay separately for it? Nope. So call panel's fully included. Every user gets it if you give them access to it. It's included with Clearly Cloud. There's no fees associated to it. What next is coming for call panel? I guess one of the features I didn't show really quick because I didn't have permissions in my group. Let me go add permissions for managing announcements that we talked about. So if you're in an organization where your receptionist or somebody in the organization is managing the IVR announcements and they change on a regular basis, instead of having to make them log into the admin interface of the phone system, you can give permissions to the announcements, which I just did, and now you'll see I have an announcements tab up here. And I can see all my IVR announcements I've been given permissions to now. And I can listen to them, and I can hit the gear cog, and I can change the name. I can change what language it is. I can upload a new recording, or I can record right through my browser a new IVR, or I can, if it's using text-to-speech, I could type in the text-to-speech information, and it will use text-to-speech to generate the IVR announcement. So it allows you to manage existing announcements for your end users, the end users right from call panel, not having to go into the admin interface of the phone system. So what's coming in the near future is actually some improvements to this. The ability to actually pick. So today in the backend system, when you use text-to-speech, you pick what text-to-speech language and type you want to use. We didn't expose it here. We're exposing that in a few other settings. So that's coming out. As I mentioned, the click-to-call stuff is coming out real soon. And then just a lot of performance enhancements, making things faster, working a lot on the mobile side, to make things more mobile friendly. Beyond that, we don't generally get too deep into what's coming out in the future, too far ahead, but a lot of neat stuff queued up for it. For music on hold, could possibly use live radio. That's really hard from a licensing standpoint. So of course, the feature itself isn't hard to do. We had it at one point, ran into some licensing stuff, but actually streaming radio stations generally requires a license for that because they're playing music and you're not licensed to play that music. So I would say, reach out to us from a feature standpoint. We can talk about it, better understand it. What text-to-speech engines or languages do you use? So we're using Google text-to-speech and Google SpeechRec for voicemail transcriptions. and you get to pick from all kinds of different languages. So like in the text to speech for your IVR prompts where you text, where you type it out and we convert it to speech, there is like 100 different languages and dialects to pick from. Does text to speech work for French? Absolutely. So we support, like I said, there's like 30, 40 languages that we support. Can you showcase some of the SMS capabilities for SMS conversation threads? And is this integrated in the Clear app as well? Again, I'm not sure what you mean by a thread, but if I'm in a conversation, I can't show you my mobile phone. Let's see here. So I'll send from my Clearly Anywhere mobile app. I can send an outbound message, and you'll see from Clearly Anywhere. If I sent that from my Clearly Anywhere mobile app as an outbound to this phone number, and my same user sees that I sent that from my mobile phone when I'm inside of the chat thread here. So I can send another one from, we'll say CA demo, and that will pop up here as soon as I hit send. Out there you go, from CA demo. And if I send something from here, so if we say from call panel, you'll have to trust me when I say it shows up in Clearly Anywhere, because I can't show you Clearly Anywhere on my mobile phone, but that from call panel shows up in Clearly Anywhere as an outbound message. And that was Todd sending one in. So, Ben, I hope that kind of showcases what you're looking for, but that keeps it synced. Okay, I think that's it for questions, Bree.
Great. Fantastic. Thank you, everybody, so much for your participation. Those are some really great questions. If we didn't get to your questions, I see some are still coming in. We will get in touch with you directly. I really appreciate everybody taking time out of their days to join us and let us showcase this Clearly Cloud and Call Panel solution to you all. We're really proud of it, and it is expanding and evolving, and engineering is always working to make it even better. So we will be having events like this on a regular basis. So whether you're a new customer or an existing user wanting to learn about all the new stuff, always feel free to join us. We love having you here. Thank you, Tony. Great job today.
Hey, Bree, a couple
Yes.
questions that just came in. Do I
Okay.
need to enable any specific browser extension or permissions for call panel? No, so it works in any modern browser. So it'll work in Edge and Chrome. Should work in Firefox. I don't use Firefox. I know others do. I and the when you go to use the phone calling for the first time, just like you do when you're using like any other web app, the first time it's going to make you give permissions to your camera, your microphone, those things you have to grant, but you only grant them once and that's remembered. You'll notice here when I have call panel, it looks like it's an application. So this is using, and we have a wiki on this. This is using Chrome, and Chrome can do these little applets or whatever they call them, where basically it saves it as an application on your desktop and it just launches it. And it's not launched with the full browser, so you don't get all the tabs and everything else. So it gives you a nice single view. And that way, in my web browser, if I'm doing stuff, I close my web browser, I'm not losing call panel. So it kind of lets call panel run in its own application, even though this is literally just Chrome in the end. And it's in our knowledge base how to set this up if you're unfamiliar for both Windows and Mac. So let me show quick in our knowledge base under Clearly Cloud Call Panel. You'll see set up call panel to launch as an application. So it's a Chrome feature. So you got to make sure you have Chrome, but we show you how to do it in Windows and in a Mac. And then one other quick question I see, Bree, is how do I know what my login is to get into call panel as a user of my phone system? So you would have to contact whoever manages your phone system. So whether that's a reseller or an internal IT person, and work with them. Every user of Clearly Cloud again, has access to call panel. Whether you've been granted access, that would be up to your PBX administrator of whoever manages your phone system, your Clearly Cloud backend phone system. That seems it, Bree.
Excellent. Well, then I think we will wrap up here. Again, thanks everybody. We really appreciate your time. It gives us a lot of pleasure and encouragement to showcase Clearly Cloud and really how powerful Call Panel is. And we'll make sure to be cycling through this every month and giving you all updates as it evolves and expands. And thank you, Tony. I appreciate your time today.
Thank you.
Great. Have a great one, everybody. Thank you so
Bye.
much. Bye bye.